Okay. Okay. I was doing my laundry, and while I was doing my laundry, I was just kind of in a self reflective mood, and I started to think about unrequited love and how, as a 31-year-old woman, I have experienced this um, for a very long time. And at this point in my life, I think after having experienced unrequited love in so many different ways, um, I want to have a voice on the topic because I think sometimes that um, when we think about unrequited love, we immediately put it in the category of, you know, I was attracted to this person and they weren't attracted to me, right? It seems to always simply boil down to, are we mutually attracted to each other? When in reality, unrequited love can be a child who never really got the same mutual love from a parent who never got mutual love from the child, spouses who never got mutual love or never had mutual love for each other, or their love fizzled out and they were never able to restore it. Friendships, you're friends with people who do not have the same amount of love for you. You know, I could go on and on and on. Siblings, you know, cousins, whatever. Aunts, uncles, like I said, I could continue on with the relatives and the relationships, but you get what I'm saying, right? Unrequited love is a bigger topic than just your little romantic interest and your physical attraction and your rendezvous and your crushes, right? Um, and I think that, if I'm honest, most people aren't really ready to talk about realizations that they have in life, right? As they get older, that reveals, like, dang, like my mama never really loved me the same way that I loved her. You know, dang, my father never really loved me the way that I loved him. My grandmother never really loved me the way that I loved her. Friends I had never really loved me the way that I loved them. And sometimes it's just gonna be a situation, especially if you're a lover, like if that's who you are, if you love love and you love to love and you love that feeling, you love experiencing it. And I'm not just talking about the fluffy, funny feelings and the butterflies. I'm talking about that and the maturity to love, the maturity that says, you know, even if this person does me wrong, you know, I'm still gonna love them. And I'm not talking about abuse and all, you know, physical abuse and all that stuff like that. No, no, no. I'm talking about, you know, they do something you don't like, or, you know, y'all have an exchange of words and there's some really harsh exchanging of words, but you don't pull your love away from the situation, because you understand that love is powerful. You understand that love is a power more than it is an emotion. And it's literally the strongest power, in my opinion, that a person can have, because as soft and as gentle, excuse me, as love is, love also kills. Love kills hate in people. It kills jealousy in people. It kills rage in people. It kills those negative emotions that we all harbor or we all have because we live life, you know? If you understand life, if you have any type of faith understanding, you know that that's what life is. It is a compilation of good and bad moments, trauma and healing mixed together to take us through a journey. We don't oftentimes and we don't always get to know exactly what journey we're on, but the more we travel the journey, the more is revealed to us, and the more we understand why we had to go through hard times and why we had to go through good times. And we get older and we mature and we can manage it better, you know. Some people don't, but most people who are on a intentional search and an intentional will to actually live life, to go through it, to not be a victim of it, to be a victor of it, you understand that more and more by and by, right? But I think that the main statement that I want to make in this video is this: do not let unrequited love make you stop loving whoever it is that you love, okay? Especially if you're a lover. Because if you're a lover, you may call yourself, you know, saying, oh, well, if they don't love me, then I'm not going to be involved. I'm not going to love them back. This is that, and the other. But like I said, love is a power. And love is so strong that even if you try to forget that person, or you try to, you know, ignore that person, or you try to, whatever, do whatever you do, block that person out or whatever, because they don't, quote unquote, have the same, love you back, or have mutual love for you in the same way that you do, it's going to be hard for you to live. It's going to be very hard for you to live, because love doesn't, real love, okay? Let me say this. True love and real love does not make you abandon a person, okay? Temporary love and manipulative love and convenient love and superficial love, those things make you like a person for a moment and abandon them in the next moment. But when you really have love for somebody, it's nothing that you can control, right? You just love them. And I know for me, I do have one particular relationship, and this is what has made me want to talk about this subject, where over time I just had to realize and understand that this was a relationship that I chose. It's a friendship. It's gone on for some time now, but I eventually had to come to the realization, and I came to the realization years ago, like back in like 2016 or 17, that the love I have for this person is not mutual. And I went through a really hard time of accepting that, because I was younger and I really didn't know what to do with that realization. Because naturally, as a young woman living in America, where everything and anything that we prioritize about love, relationships, work, careers, everything is all about looks and, BS, superficial BS. I felt like, well, if they don't love me and if they're not attracted to me the same way that I'm attracted to them, then I don't want to be involved. And actually, the realization came in a very, very, like, when I look back on it, like as an older woman, if I talked to my younger self, my heart would have gone out to her. My heart would have gone out to me, because the way that it was revealed to me was through a situation that I really thought that this individual and I had similar interests, and they basically rejected something that really meant something to me. And I realized then at that moment, they're not rejecting me because, it's not a good time for them. They're rejecting me because they don't want to do this with me, and they don't want to do this with me because they don't want to be seen in public with me, because they're very shallow. Okay. Now, mind you, like I said, me and this person still interact to this day. This is somebody that I consider a friend, but I don't consider them a friend like I used to, right? I consider them somebody who I have friendship and love for, and I have been able to manage it over the years because I understand a few things, and I'm gonna get to that in just a moment. But the way that it was revealed to me was through that experience, was through that moment, and it was a very emotional moment for me. But I never stopped going. Not in pertains to them. I never let that break me down. I never felt like I wasn't worthy. I never felt like I wasn't worth it. I just realized that person's values didn't value me, right? They have a value system that puts who I am, at a lower rank for what they're looking for, and that's fine, right? Because even at that time, I was attracted to that person. They're still an attractive person. It's not, like anything like, I used to think they was cute and they didn't like me, so now they're not cute no more. No. It's nothing like that. That's childish, right? At that time, like I said, I was younger. And so I was hopeful that this particular person would find similar interest in me, and that maybe we could date, or, we could take it to something more serious, or, have a partnership in the end. But that's not what it was. And I dealt with that for a few years, actually, before I realized, I think it was like in 2018 or 2019, that, hey, you know what? I can still love this person, but it is going to require a couple of things. It's going to require that I define this as what it is. And it's going to require that I always make sure that I understand the definition of what this is. Now, if I'm honest, late last year, so I'd say about 6 or 7 months ago, me and this individual had a really, like I said, I might have said this in another video because this is my second time recording this, but we had a very harsh exchange of words, in my opinion, right? And to what I define a harsh exchange of words are. And it was due to the fact that knowing that this is a relationship of unrequited love, meaning that I probably love this person more than they actually love me, it was necessary for me to check the situation. Years ago, without this person's approval, because I didn't need it, without this person's stamp of approval or validation to do so, I decided at that moment I will always make sure that I understand the parameters of what type of relationship this is, right? And when I say relationship, I'm not talking about boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't even do boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm too old for that, right? That's childish. That's high school, right? When I'm talking about relationship, I'm talking about the relations you have with people. I gave a few examples in the beginning of the video. But in this particular relationship, our relation to each other is we are friends, right? And at this particular time, I had started to feel like boundaries were being crossed. So I had to make sure that I addressed the situation to stay true to myself. And it ended up causing a kerfuffle because realistically speaking, and I know this about this person because we've had relationship for a little over 10 years now, they were too immature to be able to be held accountable for the way that they were crossing boundaries and expecting for it to just be overlooked. Okay, well, we don't do that around here, okay? So I knew back then, a few years ago, when I decided, okay, just because the feelings are not mutual, that doesn't mean that the love that I have for this person is going to go away. Just because I love them more than they probably love me, that doesn't mean that I want them to be out of my life. I actually like the person. Like, I really do. I'm fond of the person. I think they're a really good person. I like to have them around when the opportunities allow for me to have them around. But I do also, like I said, within the parameters of living or experiencing this relationship with unequal parts of love coming from each other, I have to make sure that I know what this is at all time, and it always has to be defined. It has to be 100% clearly defined. Clarity. Okay. Another way that I have been able to function in this relationship where I know for a fact that the love for each other is not mutual, is to make sure that I don't cross their boundaries. I say that because sometimes when you love somebody more than they love you, it is easy to think that the love you have for them means you're better, or you have the better interest in the relationship, or you're the more righteous person in the relationship. And so sometimes, and I would find myself doing this, and this is where I had this realization, challenge myself to make sure that I did not do this. Sometimes I found myself thinking that it was okay to just love dump on them, because in my mind I said, okay, who doesn't like love? Who doesn't like compliments? Who doesn't like good conversation? Who doesn't like these things? But I'm only wanting to do these things because of the feelings that I have for this person. But you have to understand that if the feeling is not mutual, they may not want to hear that from you all the time. Okay? And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not necessarily categorizing it into a certain category of behavior, but I am saying that it is about healthy execution from your end, because naturally you're always going to want to give this person good, right? Good to your definition of good, right? And for me, that's laughter. Let's share some jokes. That's self-esteem boosting. Let's share, have some good conversation. That's confidence boosting. Let's affirm each other. Let's give each other confidence. The list can go on and go on. It's much like when you're a teenager, right? And you don't really understand at that point that your parent just loves you more than you love them at that time, right? Some people are probably going to disagree with that, but it's true. Like, teenagers are always, in relation to their parents, they're always going to be X amount of years the junior of their parent. So the parent has gone through some things that has shaped their love and sharpened their love more, right? The child hasn't got there yet. So the child knows, okay, this is mom, this is dad. I should love mom and dad. I do love mom and dad, but I don't love mom and dad as much as mom and dad loves me, right? I probably never will. Like, there's no point in this life where I'm going to surpass them in this life of them of me loving them more than they love me, unless you just got trash parents, and there are some trash parents in this world, okay? Lord, don't get me started, right? The point that I'm making is where it's healthy in the parent-child relationship, where there's minimal toxicity in that relationship, the parent will always love the child more than the child loves the parent. And so sometimes that happens in other relationships, outside of the parent-child dynamic, and more specifically in the one that I'm referring to, it's happening in this relationship. I honestly feel like the unrequited love that I'm experiencing in this particular example that I'm referring to is because I'm a woman, right? They say that women mature faster than men, and that's not an excuse. Oh, maybe I should say that this is a heterosexual platonic friendship that I'm referring to. And that doesn't necessarily mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. But I do think that's something that needs to be considered. And it was something that I considered when I was younger. Not when I had my experience and the revelation of what was going on, but a few years after that, I was like, okay, I do understand. Like, this person does love me. This is not a situation where they just absolutely are just disgusted by me or anything of that nature. They just don't love me as much as I love them. That's what unrequited love is. My love and your love are unbalanced. It's unequal, okay? But going back to the parent and child example, when you're a teenager and your parents just want to love on you and you're like, oh my gosh, you getting on my nerves, leave me alone, like, ugh. Sometimes that's how it be. Even in partnerships and romantic relationships, or whatever you want to call it, marriages, where two people, it's perceived that two people are just madly in love with each other and head over heels for each other all the time. Sometimes one is getting on the other person's nerve like crazy, and vice versa. It ain't always roses and rose petals and bubble baths and champagne within the dynamic, right? Sometimes it's go in your corner and let me stay in mine because you on my last nerve, okay? And if you don't respect that person's boundaries, that pure intention and just loving them will annoy them. It'll get on their nerves, or love dumping on them. It will probably make them distance themselves from you even more, and then that could cause some problems. But again, we ain't worried about the problems today, because that's subject to whatever type of level of maturity the two people in the situation have, right? But making sure I respected their boundaries was another thing. The third thing that I had to come to the realization to over the years was that I have to respect my boundaries as well, because here is the biggest kicker of it all, right? Just as much as you want to love dump on them and just give them all the love in the world, right? They know how much you love them, okay? They know it, especially if you don't throw the relationship away just because there aren't equal parts of love in the relationship, right? And that's not to say that it will not get to a point where there will be equal parts of love in the relationship. That's also to say that there may not be a point in the relationship where you love them less than they love you, right? Like I said, a journey. We don't know everything, but we know more as we continue to live it, right? More things make sense. But nonetheless, in the situation where you're dealing with an unrequited love situation and you find yourself loving that person more than that person loves you, but you realize I still like this person. Like I can't throw this person away just because the feelings aren't mutual, right? They're not a bad person. They're not dissing me. They're not dismissing me. And most people don't. Like, let me just make this side note, then I'll get back to the point. Especially like dating. The dating culture these days is very much, oh, if you don't like me back, then I'm throwing you away and I'll never deal with you again. When I talk to people who are younger than me, I be telling them, like, y'all are stupid. Like, listen, I know I'm not that far removed from the 20s. Like, I ended my 20s 2 years ago, right? But when I talk to people who are like 22, 23, 25, and they are just quick to throw somebody away because somebody doesn't have the same level of like or love or whatever attraction for them, I'm like, so why are you dating then? Right? I thought the point of dating, and they be correcting me with the quickness. I'd be like, I thought the point of dating was to meet people. You know what I'm saying? Y'all trying to date people and have their kids and get married and do all kinds of stuff within the first day or two. You can't determine that within the first day or two of meeting somebody and dating somebody. But I realize that dating these days is really just about sex. So yes, attractiveness is priority, and if the feelings are not mutual, they throw each other away. But I've always dated people with the intention of truly getting to know the person and not having hard feelings if at the end we decide, okay, we're not going to take this into a partnership because we're just not compatible, right? But that don't mean that we have to stop being friends. I'm friends with people who I have quote unquote dated in life, and we just decided, like, okay, you're not really my cup of tea for a long-term partnership. You're not life partner material, right? But I do like you, and I do find you funny, and I do like to go to concerts with you, and you like the same type of foods that I like. We foodies, we like to go try food and stuff together. Oh, we drunkies, so we like to go hit the bar together. We don't have to throw it away just because we realize, oh, this ain't gonna be a lifetime thing. Like, we could never be parents together. We could never own a house together. We could never live together, you know? Uh, Sometimes the truth is just the truth. But to go to the third point that I was making, respecting my boundaries. Because I do know that this person knows, no matter how oblivious they try to act to the fact, they know that I love them more than they love me. They know that, okay? And what that means is that sometimes they will take advantage of that. And not in a malicious way, not in a way of trying to hurt anybody, but people go through things in life where their back is up against the wall. And when their back is up against the wall, they reach to people who they know will bring them in and love on them and help restore them emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically. Sometimes if y'all have that physical type of relationship, they come to the people who they know won't judge them. They come to the people that they know will support them. And when that's needed and they come to you because of the amount of love that you have for them, you're not going to turn them away. You're not going to give them tough love. You're going to give them the type of love that you know that they need, especially if you have nurtured the relationship and managed the relationship for some time, because you know this person and you know what you're dealing with. And they will take advantage of your love, right? They know that you have, they know that there's a heartstring of yours they can tug and pull on. The thing about that is that they don't even realize that they don't have to do that, right? But because they know that they don't love you as much as you love them, they can only see your love at the capacity that they have for you. So, in other words, and this is going to sound really harsh, but it's just the real reality of it, they wouldn't do the same thing for you that they're wanting you to do for them in that moment. It's just the truth, right? And so this is why you have to put boundaries on yourself and say, I can't tell you yes all the time. I can't jump up out of, inconvenience myself all the time. I can't stop my schedule abruptly for you all the time. Because I love you, you probably have a higher chance and a higher likelihood that I will, do that for you. But I can't do it all the time. And it's not because I'm looking at you funny or looking at you side eye saying you would never do this for me. This is that and the other, so I won't do it for you. No. It's just because I know that if given the opportunity to step in and help you, I will do it. And I will do it. I will do that plus 10, 15, 20 other things. I got to put a boundary on myself. I got to tell myself, okay, if I helped you last time, I can't help you this time. And if I help you next time, maybe I can't help you for the next couple times. My love for you is not gonna allow me to see you go out here and sink. But it damn sure ain't gonna put me in a situation where trying to stop you from sinking is gonna have me drown. Because in the moment, I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna be laser focused. The power of love that I have in me is going to put my full attention on all of your needs, because that's what love does. And sometimes I gotta act like I don't even see your needs. And here's the thing. When you love somebody, right? And you have, a considerable amount of love for them, you know them. You know them. So even though they may not be outwardly asking or outwardly requesting or outwardly needing you, you know it. You know when they kind of trying to throw a little subliminal or something, because they know how to pull, they know how to tug on that heartstring, and that's what they be doing. And sometimes I gotta just act like I don't hear you saying it. Keep the conversation going along, knowing that at the end of the day, because I know you'll figure it out, but you just can't figure it out here this time. Now, if it's dire need situation, depending on what the hell you done got yourself into, because if it's some stuff that I can't, no, because like I said, I can't drown to stop you from sinking. No. If you dire situation, no, I'm not going to let you, self-destruct. I'm not going to let you, come into your own demise. I'm not going to do that. But the little bitty stuff that I know you're capable of doing, because I know you, but you just think that because I love you that you're going to be able to come over here and essentially, run up some game a little bit to get it. Nah. And it's been that way for years. And that's why I know that unrequited love is something that is manageable, okay? You just have to have a lot of self-control, a lot of discipline, and a lot of maturity. And for some people, I know that that's hard. I'm not a master at it, but I understand the value of having this person in my life. And I understand that our outlooks are different, our perspective on lives are different, our priorities are different, our personalities are different, the foundations and morals and ethics and things that we stand on are different. We have more in common, even though there's a lot of things that differ here. We have more in common. And that's the reason why we've been able to manage the relationship or manage the friendship for this long. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that I have to always consider that we view life through two different lenses. And I can't knock you points just because your priorities and your values in life doesn't prioritize and value me the way I want you to. That makes sense? So yes, this is a conversation for the mature, right? This is aged wine, aged cheddar conversation, not Stella Rosa and craft singles. No, it's not that. And no disrespect to anybody with the Stella Rosa and the craft singles, because I like both products. But I do know the difference between Stella Rosa and, a good Merlot. I know the difference between craft singles and some good fine aged cheddar. I know the difference, okay? And this conversation is not a conversation for a person who may be having a hard time dealing with the fact that the person don't love them equally, or there's not equal parts of love in a situation, which is what unrequited love is, and they feel like they've been rejected. Because as somebody who is managing a friendship, where I do realize in other relationships, but this one is just this one has the most, relatability. Because when we think about unrequited love, oftentimes, I don't think we go to the examples that I gave earlier, even though they do exist. I think nowadays when people search for content about unrequited love, they've just found out that somebody who they had some type of romantic interest in does not have the same type of feelings for them. So I'm making the content that I'm doing relatable. We could talk about the other type of relationships at another time. But in this particular relationship, when I was younger, I did have a romantic interest in this person, But I realized, I had to use my common sense to say, they don't feel that way about me. And they never have. But we're still two people who care about each other, who love each other, who will stop what we're doing to help each other figure something out and help each other get through some things or help each other out where we can. And a lot of people don't understand it. And over the years, I've had so many people try to tell me about this person and how I could do so much better. And I'm like, what do you mean I could do so much better? We're not dating, but I realize, right? Because it is a man and a woman managing a particular type of relationship, that most people, especially in American society, can only see a man and a woman either being friends with benefits, or you got to be dating, or y'all got to be boyfriend and girlfriend, or y'all got to be married. The platonic heterosexual relationship, the platonic heterosexual friendship is rare, is few and far between. But I can say that I won't say proud or happy, because for a long time I had a lot of hardship with this relationship because I had to do a lot of internal work, right? So I can't say I'm happy or I'm proud because I ain't got to that point yet, but I can say that I am appreciative of the fact that over time I have been able to cultivate a relationship that's so rare in this society, And I do know that you can make things work with the person, even if there's unrequited love in a situation. If you stop, and yeah, you're gonna have your feelings hurt, you may be a little humiliated, you might be a little embarrassed, especially if you're younger, right? Because I've been there, right? Not even with just this relationship. When I was younger, obviously you look at me, I'm a big girl, I got a gap, I got chipped tooth, double chin, whatever. It's, it is what it is. I can't control how I look, to a certain extent, because I don't want nobody to come trying to debate or anything on that. But I have no control over some of my physical features, and I'm not the conventional beauty. I'm not the beauty standard. But over time, going back to what I said before I run off on another statement here, when I was younger, going through puberty, everybody ugly when they go through puberty. So if you already ain't as cute or you don't fit the beauty standard, your puberty time is a very hard time, because this, I was talking to somebody a few months ago. We were talking about puberty. I was talking to one of my coworkers, and I was like, kids are ugly. Like, all kids are funny looking, okay? And it's just simply because when you hit puberty, life has given you everything that you gonna have for the rest of your life. So you a kid with like all these grown features. And when you say it like that, it sounds funny. Like, you got these big ass teeth and these big ass sorry, I said I was gonna stop cussing. You got these big teeth and these big breasts and these big hips and you just got a lot of stuff going on, and you're gonna eventually grow into that stuff, right? But when you first hit puberty, life is like, oh, this is what you got. You got to grow into this, so I'm going to give it to you when you're 11. And over time, as you get older, you will grow into your beauty. So don't go changing it. That's just a side note. Let me just say that in there, squeeze that in there. But nonetheless, when I was younger, naturally I was attracted to boys. And when I was a little girl, and I wasn't the cutest, and still not the cutest to this day, but I could care less about that. And I got rejected a lot. And I consider that unrequited love. And, one thing I can say is that the boys that I did like, they didn't like me back. They never made me feel bad. The humiliation and embarrassment and stuff that I felt was more like internal. It was more me, beating myself up. But a lot of me and those guys, we stayed friends, and they were good relationships. And I guess this relationship is essentially the same. But over time, some of those dudes that I was friends with, we stopped being friends because, they took advantage of the fact that they knew that I liked them. But I think over time, I realized that me and those guys who I don't have any type of relationship with present day, I realized that I didn't really like their character. I didn't really like who they were. I wasn't really fond of them. And, after time going through, I realized, hey, like, we started growing up. You like somebody when you're young. By the time y'all like 25, 26, y'all are developing values and value systems and belief systems and things of that nature. And I was like, yeah, I don't really like you. Like, I thought I liked you, but I don't like you. Like, and I wish you the best, you know, because they did some things and said some things. And it's just like I said, abuse is never okay. Emotional abuse is never okay. Never had nobody put their hands on me because I think niggas knew better, you know, but very few. But those were petty situations. That ain't even nothing we're talking about. It ain't no domestic. Because like I said, it ain't no domestic nothing. Because if you put your hands on me, you know, because I know this is YouTube. There's only so much you can say. But just know that I can handle mine. But nonetheless, the point that I'm making is, you know, as I got older, I started to attract men who mindset was like mine. Looks was not as much as a priority as character and morals and things of that nature. And that's really what I'm attracted to in people. And I've met guys who, you know, value me and they think I'm worth their time. They think that I'm worth a date or two or whatever, because you know they say, yeah, she's grounded. She's morally grounded. She stands on her values. She stands on her ethics. You know, she's ambitious. She's smart. You know, all of the things, right? Now, obviously, I'm single, so you know it didn't really go to the lengths and extents that you know we would have hoped for when we were hopeful for it in the beginning. But that's life, you know, it is what it is. Don't really keep in contact. There's a lot of people who I don't keep in contact with, old friends and stuff like that, because of many different reasons, right? But that's just a part of life. And um, unrequited love is a part of life too. And you're probably in some type of relationship in your life where somebody that you love doesn't love you as much as you love them. You just haven't realized it yet. Or somebody, wait, did I say that right? Yeah, somebody you don't love as much loves you more than you love them, and you know you take advantage of it, or you just haven't realized it yet, or whatever the situation is. It's just a part of life. But I think you get to a point where there are some people that you're gonna meet, and you're going to say, you know what, this is gonna be a journey, but I'm willing to take it. You got family, right? Family are people, we didn't get to choose them. We had to grow and get to know them over time. And you have family who don't love you as much as you love them. You love them more than they love you. You don't love them as much as they love you. But that's just life. Life is full of unrequited love. But you have to manage those relationships in healthy ways. And those healthy ways are always defining what it is, making sure you're clear on what type of relationship this is, and not doing any more, any less than that. Respecting that person's boundaries and respecting your own boundaries. And you'd be surprised how much you can accomplish with people in life when you just learn how to manage the relationship, when you don't throw away the person. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say about unrequited love. And, you know, here's the truth. I'm going to end with this statement right here. Sometimes the love that you have, the love that God has blessed you with, there's not a person on this earth who loves you more than you love them. And so, and that's a gift. I want to emphasize that. That is a gift. And so at some point, you're going to have to mature and challenge yourself to learn how to manage every relationship in your life, because you're just a lover, and you have a power, and that power is love. And it doesn't matter who it is, right? Nobody can outlove you. Every person you meet, the reason why they're so drawn to you is because you have love. You love. You just love. That's what you do. And sometimes you love a person, and the love that you have for them is the love that they need. And I think if a person matters to you enough, you'll prioritize the fact that they need your love more than the fact that you need them to love you back. And I'm not talking about stalker type stuff. No. I'm talking about they don't love you back to the same magnitude and capacity that you love them, because they can't. But they need your love. You got to learn how to look at love as more than sex and material and opportunity and convenience. You got to learn to look at love as a power that everybody is striving to enhance and that everybody is living with. And I don't care if you don't really even know how to love, you got the power within you. You weren't created without love. What you chose to do with that power is all self will, it's all free will. But if you chose to continue to expand and enhance that power, and now you have that power working for you, unrequited love will be a part of your story and a part of your journey, more than you know, more than you want to accept, or maybe even more than you want to deal with. But at some point, you need to accept it and you need to deal with it, especially if you're a lover, especially if you're on this earth as a lover. It just is what it is. So yeah, hope everybody have a good day.